Dr. Yasir Qadhi, I think he should have been more clear on this issue. He confused a lot of people with some vague statements he made.
Poor Yasir Qadhi, facing backlash already from the Muslim community.
Either he should not have indulged in this topic in this particular interview. If he chose to indulge, then he should have gone into more details.
The speaker on the right-hand side is Adnan Rashid. And just for clarification, I know I did my video on Yasir Qadhi, but I actually respect where Yasir Qadhi is coming from, because he did come from a hardline Salafi interpretation of Islam, and he has moved his way forward to a more progressive Islam. And I respect Adnan Rashid and his manners in Speaker's Corner, so I don't welcome any negative comments. What Adnan Rashid says here is that he should not have indulged into this. And I'm saying firsthand, as an ex-Muslim, these are the conversations we need to indulge in. We need to talk about these things because the newer generation of Muslims, or even ex-Muslims, need to hear this.
And I wish he could have clarified more. If he had to mention it, if he had to talk about it, he should have gone into more detail to clarify his position.
In this video, I'm not necessarily going to attack the theological arguments, but I just want to show the defense position. You can see from Adnan's body language and the way he's speaking, he's not comfortable with Yasir Qadhi's answer. And I just want to point this out to everyone, that your critics of Islam or people that question Islam, they can see right through this.
Okay. And he doesn't need to indulge in this. I would advise Dr. Yasir Qadhi to stop indulging in this, because this is not his field. He's not an authority to say. I mean, when he wrote his book, Introduction to the Quranic Sciences, he was a graduate student from Medina University. Okay, he was in his early 20s. He was a student.
Here comes the discredit, and it kind of bothered me because Yasir Qadhi is a force to be reckoned with in the Islamic world. People know who Yasir Qadhi is. The belittlement right here is something I don't agree with. To say, he wrote a good book in his early 20s, and he was going to Medina University where he was learning a hardline version of Islam. I actually respect Yasir Qadhi's journey. He actually went to Yale. He questioned what he knew about Islam. And a lot of Muslims are out there and they're sort of attacking his positions on celebrating birthdays or celebrating Christmas or LGBT rights. But I have to say, him coming from that background and to where he is now, in a way, I kind of respect his grind.
Okay, I don't know what his exact qualification in the Quran is. What he needs to do, he needs to delegate this task to the Ahlul Quran. He needs to delegate the task to the Ahlul Quran, to the Qur'an, to the masters of the Quran, people who have done PhDs in the Qira'at.
The thing I want to point out here is that every Muslim has their own scholar. What constitutes ulama for Adnan Rashid is going to be totally different for somebody else. And this is where the problem is. We get lost in translation when it comes to this. All right, we have to go back to the scholars. Well, Yasir Qadhi is a scholar. And first of all, who are you talking about? Are you talking about hardline extreme scholars that may live overseas? Are you talking about the more Hamza Yusuf brand of scholars? This is where the discussion always gets lost in translation. Even when I talk to Muslims in general, they say, I don't have an interpretation like that. And I'm just saying, well, this is the interpretation that's accepted in this and this and this country. So this is where the problem lies.
Environment, there's always some respect that we have for the Quran. We should. In a Muslim environment, we'll press a little bit and then we'll say, okay, khalas, sami'na wa ata'na. And that's great, alhamdulillah. When you go to academia, they don't have that red line. And they're going to
pause that. When Dr. Qadhi says that Muslims are pressed a little bit and then they sami'na wa ata'na, I think he made a mistake there. Okay, respectfully, he made a mistake there. Okay, Muslims just don't say sami'na wa ata'na.
Surah An-Nur The only saying of the faithful believers when they are called to Allah and His messengers to judge between them is that they say, "We hear and we obey, such are the successful. And whoever obeys Allah and His messenger fears Allah and keeps his duty to Him. They are the successful." Understanding this point from a fiqh point of view is that you obey and listen to your madhab. You stick to what is certain over which is doubtful. This is the fiqh issue of this. I'm not just pointing out the Quran verse, which I just refuted you right there. But yeah, the general attitude of Muslims is that we hear and obey Muhammad. This is why you follow the Sunnah. This is why you don't try to create your own interpretation from the Quran. You have to take the tafsir. You have to see how Muhammad lived, and you obey those orders.
Dr. Qadhi, if you don't want to be explicit, don't talk about this. If you talk about these things, the Dr. Qadhi keeps saying that I don't want to be explicit. I don't want to be explicit. If you don't want to be explicit, don't talk about these matters because you're confusing people out there. People don't know what you're talking about.
Why is it not okay for people to be confused out there? This is what we need to allow in the Muslim world. We need Muslims to allow doubt in their mind. When they're not allowed doubt, like many Christians are allowed to have doubts. When Muslims are not allowed doubt, what it does, it creates a restriction in them, and they feel that they need to drill their point home. And take it from me, it was not an easy thing to deal with. The mental gymnastics of defending my religion every day to people when I was Muslim, especially 434, and beat them lightly. That was a very difficult thing for me to defend. So I say that what Yasir Qadhi is doing is actually great. It's given some relief to the Muslim Ummah, and we have to stand behind that. It's okay to have doubts as a Muslim. It's okay for them to be confused. So many times Muslims are told to go to their imam or go to their sheikh, but sometimes it's okay to figure out things on your own, or to have confusion, or to think about things. This is how we progress in Western society. This is how we adapt. This is how we grow as people and grow as a nation.
Every advanced student and specialist that the standard narrative has holes in it. That's what I'm going to say. The standard narrative does not answer some very pressing questions. These are now within the Western.
Here, Dr. Yasir Qadhi is talking about Western academics saying that the standard narrative, on the relationship between ahruf and the qira'at has holes in it. Okay, he's talking about Western scholarship. He's not talking about Muslim scholars.
He's trying to claim, Yasir Qadhi is saying that the Western scholars, they have holes in their narrative. But he knows deep down inside that what Yasir Qadhi meant was that the standard traditional scholars of Islam, the narrative that they push out, have holes in it.
Variations in the pre-Uthmanic text. Allah revealed the variations. Allah revealed the ahruf. Allah revealed 7 different modes and styles of reading the Quran to accommodate the different styles of the Arabs.
I can tell by Adnan Rashid's body language, he's becoming uncomfortable and very defensive, and he's trying to sugarcoat this with, it's just a pronunciation, it's just a tashkil, it's just the kirat, it's just the way they recited it was just a little different. But no, we have evidence now that some of the meanings are changed, sometimes significantly, and sometimes in a little manner. And I hope Abdullah Samir and Abdullah Gandul don't mind that I post this clip. Let's just take a look at what Adnan Rashid has to say real quick.
That's a key.
Those variations have no bearing whatsoever on the text of the Quran.
Here's where it's very interesting. The ayah is وَلَا تَقْرَبُوا النِّسَاءَ فِي مَحِيضِهُنَّ وَاعْتَزِلُوهُنَّ حَتَّى يَتَطَهَّرْنَ. It's about periods and approaching women. But in the Sana Quran, the whole sentence structure has changed drastically. It says, فَاعْتَزِلُوا النِّسَاءَ فِي الْمَحِيضِ وَلَا تَقْرَبُوهُنَّ حَتَّى يَطَّهَّرْنَ. So you see that the verse 222 from Surah Baqarah is drastically different as seen in the manuscript itself. And this indicates that there was definitely human play or humans involved in this. And you can see that even the N word, yatatahhan, there's extra letters added to it. The ta isn't even there.
By and large, our ulama in the Eastern world are not aware, by and large, of what's going on in the Western side of things. And they're not...
Okay, pause there, please.
I give Adnan and Rashid the benefit of the doubt. Remember earlier he said, oh, it's the Western scholars that Yasir Qadhi was alluding to that had holes in their narrative. But just right there, you saw Yasir Qadhi saying that the Eastern scholars traditionally are not aware.
Dr. Yasir Qadhi is simply, I'm not going to say he's confused, he's a learned man. And I wish he was challenged on this by Muhammad Hijab. Okay, when he says our scholarship is unaware, I don't know what he's talking about. Wallahi.
And I'm gonna give the ending right here. The point of the video is not to shame anyone or just to say, oh, you guys got it wrong and let's enter the debate realm. But I rather want to say what Yasir Qadhi did was actually good. It was actually a good thing, they said. And you don't have to blame Muhammad Hijab for not calling him out on it. I just think this mentality altogether is destructive to the Muslim Ummah. Like, why put your backs against the wall instead of just honestly saying, you know, maybe there's some, you know, holes in the way we do things, and instead of this idea of like, oh, we have to perfectly preserve the Quran. I know that's the Quran's claim, and I know the claim is that we have to obey Muhammad at all times, but maybe we can change that narrative a little bit and say, hey, maybe that's what the claim was, but we know in today's time this is better. This is a better solution. It's enlightenment is what we're going for. And I think, you know, societies would do a lot better. I just think societies would do a lot better if we, you know, embrace this idea that Yasir Qadhi is coming with. You know, you might be looking at it from a Western point of view, and you were an ex-Muslim, and you might say this is just slippery semantics, mental gymnastics, blah, blah, blah. But let's allow people to think. Let's give them the freedom to think and come up with their own interpretations. I think this is much healthier than to just shoot ideas down left and right. That's going to do it for this one, guys. I am linking my Patreon and PayPal in the description. I don't believe that, you know, it's necessary at all. I actually feel like a beggar putting that in, but I did have some messages, people like, I really do want to support you, and I think you have great videos, and I just put $1 and $5 for the Patreon, no more than that, definitely not. And I suggest people to do the $1, because $5 per month adds up, you know what I'm saying? And then the PayPal thing, just I'd rather prefer that. If you wanted to do like $2 for PayPal, so I can get $1.70 back, where that, man, don't even donate. I'm just putting that disclaimer out there. Don't even take care, guys. Bye.